I've got today a 131 Toyota Auris, and it's a crank no start situation. I'm going through a code scan here at the top down at the moment, and it's just finished, has it? I think so. So let's just have a look. Stability malfunction. ECM PCM power relay control circuit open. Startability malfunction. ECM PCM power relay control circuit open. Oh. So they are in ECM AC solar sensor circuit. It's not going to stop it, is it? And then we have glass position initialization incomplete. Door motor. Right, don't worry about them ones, but okay, let's start this car then and see what happens. Okay, so it is a crank no start anyway. Not really attempting to fire at all. Okay. So look, we'll have a deeper investigation into these. Okay, so I cleared out the codes and we're going to crank this car off my headlight. I'm going to crank this car looking at fuel pressure. That is not enough to start this. 200 bar I'll be looking for before this car computer will fire the injectors. I do not have that. 80 bar. That is too low. If I go back, now I did clear out the fault codes. Let's see what we got back. The P1604, startability malfunction, current and history. Now this did come from another garage, so the other codes that I had to do with the relay could have been caused by or created by the other garage. But anyway, fuel pressure now is what I see as a big problem at the moment, and that's too low, so we'll try and sort that. Okay lads, this is kind of mad. I had no fuel pressure earlier. Bring it back to the scan tool and we turn the key. Now we have mad fuel pressure, 300 bar. And it did start. It started and ran, but wasn't running very well. Now, I'll show you what I was doing that got me back my fuel pressure and made this thing run. With this little blanking plug down on the injector rail. So I was eliminating one injector at a time and cranking it to see would it give me back fuel pressure, and went along 1, 2, 3, 4 and still nothing, only what 90 bar of pressure. When I got to this, then the DVR regulating pressure valve, I found that the thing was loose. So if you look up here, I have the inlet metering valve and the pressure relief valve here. Someone was at this car and they might have changed them. So all I done was I squeezed that tight and went in. I had fuel pressure, cranked it over, the car started, but didn't run very nice. Now while I was up at down at the injector pipes, the steel pipes, you see a little bit of wetness there, diesel. Well, should be diesel, but it didn't. Kind of smelled like fuel to me. So what I'm going to do, it did start and I turned it off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little sample of fuel from here. We have a little primer pump on the filter, the fuel filter, so we should be able to get that quite easy. And I don't know, I think it's petrol inside this, and we'll see. Okay lads, I'm hooked up here and I'm just going pumping that primer valve into a cup and have a little sample of fuel. That is more than enough for me anyway. There it is. I don't know, to me it smells like petrol. Little droplet on the ground and put a flame to that. Straight away she lights. That's fuel. That's not, that is petrol, not diesel. That's my little test for that. So, okay lads, I want to get this petrol out of this thing. We have a little mini pump here, electric pump, and that's the feed to the fuel filter. That's only 1 or 2 wires going ground from my battery. I'm going to run this pump. Whoa! Oh, we're leaking everywhere. But anyway, won't be too long before this tank will be empty, and we'll fill it up with fresh diesel, and hopefully this car will start and run. Okay lads, we're pumping away here and we're just about empty. That's what came out of it. And the gauge, if you can see it there, it's quite dirty, but the gauge is reading empty. So we'll fire up. There it is, there. See, the gauge is reading empty. We'll fire a bit of diesel into this thing, bleed the system, and hopefully, with the fingers crossed, this thing will run nice. Okay lads, I have a small drop of diesel gone into the tank there. I bled it up as far as the fuel filter, and we're going to crank and see while watching our fuel pressure. Now, injectors won't fire until this fuel pressure sensor hits 200 bar, so that's the magic number. Gonna fire, come on. Little bit of petrol probably left in the rail and stuff. Good pressure there, serious pressure. But a no start at the moment. We'll go again. Wished, there we go. Well, almost. Hey, she's running. Now hopefully that petrol hasn't done any damage to injectors or the fuel pump. It could possibly do damage. It hasn't got the lubricating properties that diesel has. So hopefully our pump and injectors have all survived this situation. Probably leave this run for a little while and drive up the road to make sure everything is okay. But she's running at least anyway for now. Okay lads, I think we have a fix on the Toyota Auris. Starting and idling there very nicely. Drove up the road there and all good. Turn it off. start it up. First tip nearly. Sounds good, drives good. Now, 4 codes, no 4 codes present. And so what we had here, we had 2 faults, so we had 2 problems. One, we couldn't build fuel pressure. 200 bar I want to see at cranking for the ECU to fire the injectors, the open injectors. Did not see that because the other garage or not the other garage, or someone was at it anyway. We had an internal leak which I was after, so I blocked off the injectors one by one to see could I get fuel pressure to rise. I could not. So then that drew my attention to, was it leaking back past the DRV, diesel regulating valve, which is this one. And when I got to that at the end of the rail, that was only hand tight, so I squeezed it up and I had fuel pressure, and at that point it started for me, but ran really rough and bad. Then I discovered that the fuel was petrol, and we drained it out of it and we topped it up with diesel, and this thing is now running nice and sweet, the way it should. I'm going to recommend what I do, or the owner or the other garage does, is a fuel filter replacement. But at this point I'm happy with the way this thing is acting, and driving and starting and all that good stuff. So right lads, that's a wrap for the Toyota Auris. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.